OpenAI is still losing money.
OpenAI is indeed slashing prices.
He's going to compete like Zuckerberg. He's going to steal or liberate.
OpenAI IPO that will make the bubble eventually burst.
Is OpenAI going bankrupt?
OpenAI is navigating one of the most critical periods in its history. While it commands a multi-hundred-billion-dollar valuation, it's simultaneously battling severe challenges from massive cash burn and executive turnover to fierce competition and technical missteps. Let's dive in.
8 months ago, I called OpenAI a train wreck. Why? Because the company had done only $13 billion in revenue and planned to spend $1 trillion, and that's pretty much how companies die. Well, last week we learned not much has changed. OpenAI is still losing money, but its new plan is to solicit the US government into taking a 5% stake in the company. If that sounds like a bailout to you, it is. In fact, OpenAI has been talking about this for almost a year now. This comes just 2 days after Meta admitted that it is also struggling with AI. Meta had spent hundreds of billions of dollars on AI infrastructure that they wanted to use to build their own AI applications, but supposedly those apps aren't really working now. And so now the plan is to build a cloud business, i.e. sell that infrastructure to somebody else. Point being, despite the hype, AI is not doing too hot right now, which to me spells 2 words. First word bubble, second word pop.
Sam Altman reportedly pitched giving Washington a 5% stake in the company, a slice worth over $40 billion. By giving the government a piece of the pie, OpenAI hopes to smooth over regulatory roadblocks and to win over politicians on both sides of the aisle.
OpenAI is indeed slashing prices across the board for some of its models, dropping the cost of 2 models in particular. ChatGPT 5.6 Luna was already its cheapest model. That's dropping by 80%. And then you have another model, Terra, which is dropping by about 20% in terms of price.
Between the rise of cheap open-weight models and enterprise clients cutting back on runaway AI spending, OpenAI is feeling the burn. Slashing model prices keeps developers in their ecosystem, but it comes at a heavy cost. Compressed margins and a much longer wait for investors to see a real return on investment.
I think OpenAI is going to build everything. Smartphone, gadgets, glasses, anything that helps them capture market share to catch up the $1 trillion market cap with tens of billions in revenue. They're going to go for everything. So he's the deal maker's deal maker. He's going to compete like Zuckerberg. He's going to steal or liberate or copy any partner's product. He will stab any partner in the back, even if it was Apple. So I think Sam's burning people out on partnerships. I think there'll be a lot of breakups with OpenAI, and then OpenAI is going to go their own way. Sam's going to take on all comers. He's taking on everybody. Anybody who is making anything interesting in the world, he is going to compete with them. There is no partnership. He is like Bill Gates. He is like Zuckerberg. He is built to compete, not to partner. Sam's going to build stuff. Will he be able to compete with Apple stores and Apple's fit and finish? The answer is yes. Why not? And this is going to light a fire under Apple to be more innovative. Here we go.
OpenAI has already started venturing into hardware products by acquiring IO Products, the hardware startup co-founded by legendary former Apple design chief Jony Ive, in a major $6.5 billion deal.
Sam Altman takes to the Y Combinator stage and tells 169 companies that he's going to give them $2 million in free tokens. All the founders are in there like, yeah. Mic drop, free money to build. But nothing is free. And once you understand what OpenAI is actually getting in return, you'll look at this deal a lot differently. Let's start by making something very clear. OpenAI is not a nonprofit. And I think now we know very clearly that's not the case. So when they hand 169 of the smartest companies on earth $2 million in tokens, they're not being generous. They're really running a playbook. Because here's what they get from it. The first is equity. These tokens will convert into equity in every single one of these companies. 2 is the lock-in. Because every company is going to start building an OpenAI, and it's going to be hard to switch over to Anthropic or any other competitor after that. But 3, the one no one's really talking about, is data. This now gives them a front row seat into how all these smart companies are actually building with AI, what they're building, and where the technology is headed. And this is the part that matters, because foundation models are starving for data. It's the scarcest resource in AI right now. And 2 million in tokens is nothing in comparison to how much that data is worth. I mean, look at the pattern. I mean, Meta is going as far as recording its own employees' keystrokes in order to get the data that it needs to train its models. Dead startups are even getting paid to give up their Slack and Jira tickets that are getting mined for training data. And now OpenAI is funding the entire Y Combinator batch to get a look into what this frontier looks like. Same hunger, different door in to the same prize. And the lesson is that this is a classic playbook. I mean, now we know Amazon did it with all the third-party sellers on their platform. Let them onto the marketplace, watch what they sold, then launch their own versions. The giveaway is never the product. The giveaway is how they find the product. I mean, even JCal said it best. Go ahead, take these tokens, and there's a real chance that OpenAI studies what you're doing, copies it, and then ships it in their free tier. There's the old adage that's never been more true. When you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And now even when you're a startup.
Exactly. Nothing in this game is free. OpenAI is aggressively expanding into new hardware and software products, often using other people's data to do it. On top of that, Apple has now hit them with a massive lawsuit alleging intellectual property theft.
There is so much that doesn't pass the sniff test when it comes to the OpenAI IPO that will make Sam Altman and his investors hundreds of billions of dollars. But the place that I like to start is the idea of compute constraint. If I had an ice cream shop and I was giving away free ice cream, I would probably very quickly become ice cream constrained. Maybe I'd call the mayor and I'd say, I need all your water and all your milk for my ice cream because everybody wants this free and delicious product. Compute constraint is basically the reason that Sam Altman can go to Governor Whitmer, can go down to Washington and get big tax breaks for his company that has, by the way, never made a profit, that is in the hole $44 billion because they need more compute for their company that has infinite number of customers. But the truth is only 5% of the 800 million ChatGPT users are paying for the service. 95% of them are getting it for free. Once OpenAI becomes a public company, giving your product away for free is not really an option anymore. You have to start to charge. Could be $100 a month for the free version of ChatGPT that you're getting now. Could be $500 a month. Could be $1,000 a month, depending on how many people sign up. And then suddenly, you're not compute constraint anymore because not as many people want your product if it's not free. My guess is Sam Altman and his initial investors know all this. And I would also guess that should OpenAI go public, they will most likely not start to raise the price until that 6-month lockout period, where all those early investors, all those insiders are able to dump their shares and then tiptoe max their way into hiding as the bubble eventually bursts.
With compute costs skyrocketing into the tens of billions, mega investors of OpenAI like SoftBank, Thrive Capital, and Microsoft demanded a clear path to liquidity. In short, an IPO is now the primary exit route for major backers looking to cash in on their investment.
Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in the next video.